All right, man. Back with another one. Just finished up at the gym. That's why I'm looking beefier than normal today. Y'all see the title, man. Uh, Believing is seeing. So obviously we all know there's a saying, and that saying is seeing is believing, right? But I've recently come to realize that that shit is not true. And I didn't come to this realization on my own. It came from this book that I'm reading right now, and also a video that I was watching earlier today. So that let me know right there that I need to make this video. And this is something that I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know everything about it and I got it and I fully understand it. But talking is how I fully understand things. Like, it helps me kind of fully digest new information, right? So we all know that the mind is the most powerful thing, right? And if you look at the normal saying, which is seeing is believing, that's pretty much getting at your eyes are more powerful than your mind. And we know that that's not true, right? We know that that's not true. Most people, they think that what they see, that's just what it is. But really what it is what you think is what's the most important. Because everybody has, like, we all have the ability to look at, like, you can take 10 people and put one object in front of them and everybody won't say the same thing. So that lets you know right there that your eyes aren't reliable. It's really about what you think, you know? And understanding that, or hearing that rather, and just keeping that in mind as you go through life, every day, you start to really see shit differently, right? You start to see people differently. You start to see situations differently. You see everything differently, right? Because it all boils down to this. And a lot of people think the mind is just the way that it is and it stays that way, but that's not true either. The mind is plastic. The mind is very malleable. It's very, like, you can change it, even after it develops. Like, I think they say your brain's done developing at like 25 or whatever, but you can change your mind at will. It just takes repetition. Because the way I look at the mind is like a kid, or the mind is like a fucking puppy. Like, you have to train it to do and not do. You have to train it to do things, and you have to train it to not do certain things, right? And I learned this when I wasn't in the best headspace and I wasn't talking to myself in the best way. So me having a more negative mindset, or really just being in that mental prison, that shit was messing up everything that I was seeing, right? There's nothing wrong with what I'm looking at, but I'm making it wrong. I'm making it an issue. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that obviously not everybody's going to get to this point, but I feel like those that do, when you do get to this point, I would hope for me, that I'm able to have a little more compassion and understanding for individuals that may not have this level of understanding, a level of consciousness, right? Like, instead of creating division and, people like us and them, it's very easy to do that. Very easy to do that, especially when you become more conscious, or you start getting into like spirituality and shit like that. Like, it's very easy to develop that spiritual ego, but that's not it. Because all that is creating, that's just making the lines of division, it's just making them even thicker. You know what I'm saying? And making them more obvious. And I know this shit from experience, because I used to do the same shit when I started becoming more aware. It was a us versus them type of thing, right? It's these people, and then there's us, right? And that shit is just not the way, bro. That shit is whack. It's gonna solidify the narrative that we all have in our heads. You know, the like we're the good guys and they're the bad guys, right? Like every movie that you see, every TV show that you see, there's all these examples of division, and we don't need no more of that shit, right? Just because you're aware of the things that you're aware of doesn't mean that you're better, or you need to do what you can to eradicate the other side. There is no fucking other side, bro. You know what I'm saying? We got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of that narrative. That bullshit narrative that's not helping nobody. The same narrative that's making everybody's life harder. The same narrative that as kids we grew up watching in these movies and these TV shows and shit like that. There's nothing wrong with the movies and the TV shows, but it's like the main character syndrome that it bestows upon the people watching it. That's what fucks us up. And all that is getting into our minds, right? But once you understand that what you believe is what you see, you start to look at shit completely different. And it's like everything just kind of drops. That's kind of how it felt for me when I was reading it in the book. It's like everything just kind of like zoomed out for a sec, and it was like I just had to sit there and just be like, damn, bro, like I understood the mind was powerful, but it's different when you see text like that in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, damn, bro, that shit is real. You know? And then it just all boils back. It all just goes back to your inner world, your mind, what's going on inside of you, because that's what you get out of life. You get what the fuck you are. You get what the fuck you think. That saying, you are what you eat, that shit is real, bro. It doesn't just mean the food you intake. That's not the only thing that we're eating. We eat food, we eat information, we eat media, we eat everything. Anything that comes in is eating, right? So we have to be mindful of how we're perceiving the things that we're eating, right? We have to be mindful of everything. We have to be mindful of the way that we think, and why do we think that way? Is it actually the way that we think, or have we been raised to think that way? Have we been programmed to think that way? Really think about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I can speak from being in a dark place, being in that mental prison. Bro, that shit sucks. But the thing about it is, you put yourself there, which means you can get yourself out, right? This shit is you versus you, bro. That's all this shit is. This whole life thing is you and what the fuck you think, bro. Earl Sweatshirt said that on one of his songs on his new album. I can't remember the name. The album's not new, but it's his most recent album. At the end of the song, he was like something along the lines of, at the end of the day, it's just you and what you think. And that shit is real, because that's all it is. It's all it is. All the power is in here. But we think it's out there. That shit is not true. Your mind is the most powerful thing. Think about the thing about it. One thing that I realize is we learn how powerful the mind is a lot of the times through like negativity, because we get into a space where, I'm not saying this is everybody, but obviously we know, suicide and depression and all that shit is like at an all-time high. Everybody going to therapy and shit. Nothing wrong with that. But think about how powerful your mind is to make you wake up and think that life isn't worth living anymore, or you should kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about how powerful of an influence your mind has to be to convince you of those things, because that shit happens on a regular basis to people, right? Now think about the complete opposite. Think about your mind telling you, bro, the possibilities are fucking endless. There's nothing you can't do. You can do that. You can trick your brain into doing whatever the fuck you want it to do, right? But you have to understand you have to understand and get in contact with the power that's in there. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing, what really started it all for me, bro, was fucking meditation. All meditation does is just creates space in your brain. That's it. It's like cleaning your room. It's like cleaning the car out. That's all it is. That's in the most basic way that I can describe meditation for somebody, is just cleaning your fucking brain out. That's it. It's like mental fasting. That's it. That's all it is. Cleaning that shit out. But because we take in so much in our brains, and then the only time we ever really have downtime is when we sleeping, if we're sleeping. If we're getting good quality sleep, probably not. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time you're getting that shit. Or you can meditate and help you make your sleep more restorative than it actually is right now. You know what I'm saying? So all of that thinking that everything out here is powerful or valuable or what you need, just rethink that. I'm not even going to tell you that it's wrong, because it's not wrong. It just is. It's just a thing. It's just a frame of mind. It's just a state of being. Think differently in any aspect. Think of the inverse of anything that you already think. Think of the inverse, right? Because to somebody that inverse is true. To somebody that inverse is reality, right? Perfect example for me. The gym, to me, is one of the best decisions that I ever made. And to somebody else, it could be one of the worst ones, because they could get injured and fucking lose a limb. Neither one of us is wrong. Neither one of us is right either. They're just examples. They're just possibilities. That's all it is, right? I know that's a lot to chew on. This is basically what I've been chewing on for the past couple days. So, yeah, man, just think about that shit, man. Just think about it. Really, really sit and listen to this shit. If you need to play it back again, do it. Because I'm going to have to sit back and watch this shit anyway before I put it out. But really, really, really sit down and think about what the fuck I'm saying, bro. Really think about that shit. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. I'll take it easy, man. Peace.